You ever get one of those phone calls just before dinner from a collections representative for a phone company? Well, that used to be me. I was that guy calling you at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, trying to get money from the phone company for a bill that was unpaid or late. Now, it didn't sound like a very pleasant job, and it really wasn't sometimes, but it was rewarding. And it kind of stemmed from the fact that I got into the job originally for the money. I needed cash. I had a lower paying job, and this one was a decent paying job, starting out at the low end, if you had very little experience, was $13, and all the way up to a high end where you top out in the salary range at $23.33. This being said, coming in with customer service experience, I actually ended up mid range on that, which was exactly why I wanted to be there. What I didn't realize was that I would be calling people and telling them, hey, you got to pay your bill or we're going to turn you off. Um, that takes some getting used to. It's hard to call someone and tell them they have to pay you or you're going to cut off their outside connection via the phone. Um, there were better ways to do it. Um, the company had a 8-week training program, which started us at very basic service levels for getting into our computer programs. They taught us all the necessary programs to use in order to achieve um, our goals. And then it went from there and it evolved to the actual speaking to the customer. We did mostly inbound, where customers would call in and tell us, hey, you turned my service off, I need to get it back on, or hey, I called in, I got a disconnect notice, I need to see if I can get some help and make something happen so I don't get my phone turned off. And that's where we played a key role. The customers calling in to make arrangements or to say, we can't pay our bill, were the kind of people that we enjoy talking to the most. They would call in generally after disconnect notice. Very few people called in when they got their bill to tell us they couldn't pay it. They generally waited until they got their disconnect notice. Um, some angry, some not angry, but they're all treated the same. With kid gloves, basically, when they call in. We don't want them to think that we're the bad guy. We don't want them to think that we think they're the bad guy. It was an unfortunate situation that got us into that. And the training we got, as well as the customer service experience we brought to the company, helped out quite a bit with talking to these customers. Uh, Training, as I mentioned, was an ongoing process. Of course, we got our initial 8 weeks worth of training, but there was always new training on the floor, always something different that you needed to learn or something else you wanted to learn. And the company was pretty good at providing training. They also were supportive of our outside education as well. If we wanted to go take another class, whether or not it benefited the company, it was actually reimbursed once the quarter was completed by the company, essentially costing us nothing to go to school. I'd actually taken a few classes through that program, which allowed me to move laterally within the company to different departments, um, starting from the Consumer Financial Department, or CFS, Consumer Financial Centers. Um, then I moved to the IT department, and then I moved to various positions within the company later on there in that time frame. Um, Benefits of working at the company were really good. They treated us really good as far as benefits go. Medical, dental, vision, all decent programs with very little out of our pocket initially. Of course, times changed as it got harder. I learned a lot there about customer service and how to treat my customers, which I carry forward to my current outlookings for job right now. I'm looking for customer service as well, or carrying that information of what I learned into other departments or into other companies, give me a better base for which to support that. My initial training for conflict resolution that we also got at Quest was excellent. Um, we could usually de-escalate a call within a matter of minutes on an irate customer. Overall, I think that my experiences there were really well done and really well played out. Unfortunately, they closed our center, scattering our jobs to places like Omaha or Idaho, with an option, of course, for us to follow our jobs. Most of us didn't. We chose to stay in Washington. In some cases, that was a better decision as they actually ended up closing several of those other centers within 6 months of the transfer dates. Um, but in conclusion, I think that the collections field that I was in was more beneficial than it was hurtful to the customers and to myself as well as my family. It provided a very good family base for me.